Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently in need of doing some communication satellite work. So let's hop into the VAB here. We set up a vehicle for that. And let's see what we've got here. ComSat. So this costs 10k. That's really very cheap. And this should be fine. I don't think it should need any fins on it. This should be relatively stable. And it should have more than enough DV for what we're going for here. That should be absolutely fine. So let's just put this out on the pad. I am going to say we've not played this design yet. I'm going to call this this first one a test flight. So this is revertible if we end up having significant issues, and we can just like slap on a pair of fins or something. It shouldn't be a big deal. We're probably not even going to revert it, but this one is a test flight and is revertible. Okay, so SAS on, throttle up, and double check staging. Staging looks overall pretty good here. Okay, let's go. So off we go. The question I have right now is how long are these SRBs going to burn for? And the answer is about 45 seconds. Okay. Noted. So we should be burned out of the hemispherical liquid fuel tanks now. Yeah, that doesn't take long. So that's absolutely fine. And we don't have a KER on this, apparently. That is, I guess, ooh, okay. So this thing is actually, we are going to revert this. This thing is quite tippy. So that's good to know. It wanted to tip over into a retrograde side, and when I went to correct it, it just immediately wanted to tip. So in that case, we can hop into here, and we can toss on a couple of like Delta Deluxe winglets. Something along the lines of that will probably be enough. We may have to go up to having a couple here. We'll see. That does add a little bit to the cost, but I'm not very concerned about the cost, to be honest. So that seems absolutely fine. Oh, there's one more thing we want to have on here. We want to have a 2-hot thermometer just in case we get contracts for science data from space around Minmus. Yeah. So I'll be right back. I will add that, and we'll be back on the pad. Okay, so here we are back on the pad. I added a KER as well as the 2-hot thermometer, and so we should be good to go. I don't really love the fact that this is laid out the way it is. We'll see how it is. We should have access to Smart ASS, so yeah, we'll do that. That will be absolutely fine. Let's see how this flies this time. Okay. So far, so good on the straight-up trajectory. We can see our headings at 360, so we're not having significant drift retrograde like we were before yet. We'll see if we need to correct that, but what I want to do right now is I want to do a bit of a stress test here on our aerodynamic stability. We are quite stable. Okay, so we'll hold about here for now. That looks good. We do not require additional fins, so that is fantastic. We'll just let our speed build up for now. Let's move this into orbital mode. And I'm looking at our apoapsis height. I'd like to slowly make our way over to the prograde marker. So we're trying to turn here, but we're having some stability issues. We're a little overstable at this point with those 2 fins added. That's okay. I don't mind it. So let's just bring this right on over and lock to orbital prograde. Now, we're going to be ditching these. And that may change our stability a lot. Okay, we're a bit late on that decoupling because I was explaining that. So we carried that a little further than we normally would have. Should be fine. I'm not too concerned about it. So we're watching our apoapsis height. It's currently about 60 kilometers, so I want to take us to horizontal velocity up, and this is where we might have some significant issues here. Seems fine, though. Yeah, that seemed absolutely A-okay. I was expecting to have some potential issues with holding this attitude, but no, that looked fine. So our apoapsis height is looking good. We can stop this burn if we wanted to. I'm going to keep it going for a bit, though, and we can ditch this fairing now. We don't need to carry that mass any further, and we'll call 150 good enough. Engine shutdown, we've only got 157 meters per second left here. That's okay. Note that without the gimbal, we are tumbling a little bit. I'm not too concerned about that right now. So for the time being, we'll head to the apoapsis. This is going to be very, very slow turning at this point. So that's understood. We're just going to look to circularize this for now. And let's lock to that node. We're already heading in that direction, so that looks good. We're officially in vacuum now, so we should be fine. Let's extend our solar panels on out, and we can extend our high gain antenna as well. And everything should be fine on that front. We're still going to be a little slow on our rotation, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and warp on over. We are in position for this burn. So we're just heading up to the apoapsis here. We've got about 1 minute until this burn. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, so we're burnt out there. Let's move over to our next stage. Perfect. We have so much DV in this. Now, one thing that we do not have on this is a reaction control system for the docking. So that might make things a little bit awkward. We could put one on for the second vehicle and just have this one be the receiving vehicle and a second vehicle have some RCS thrusters for easier docking. Because we need to dock around we need to dock around Minmus, right, for one of our contracts. So that's absolutely fine. For now, we just want to get ourselves into an orbit of Minmus. So that'll be okay. So for the time being, we're basically at the ascending node. I'm going to do this at the descending node then. That's absolutely fine. I don't want this debris here. I want to pin open the ascending node. There we go. Okay. Let's bring this right on around to be about... Yeah, this is good enough. We'll lock to that node. We should turn a fair amount faster than we did previously, now that we have a lot less mass here. Indeed. So that all looks good for now. The fairing is the next stage, which is kind of funny. In fact, we could just go ahead and stage that. I'm going to quick save in case that breaks anything, but we should be able to. Yeah, as expected. Perfect. So we'll warp around to the ascending node here, 221.7 meters per second. We have so much DV in this thing at this point. This is absolutely fine. Excellent. So we've got about a minute until this burn. 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, so let's just finish up that burn. This is probably good enough, but let's get the last little bit burnt out here. 0.8 meters per second to go. Okay. This is good enough. Okay, so that looks fine, and let's head on over to Minmus at this point. So Minmus is currently located here. If we were to burn sometime around here, this is very close, but if we were to burn sometime around here, what would this look like? Oh, this is fine. Yeah, I don't actually care about the periapsis here. We'll adjust that later. So that looks good for now. And let's prepare for this burn. So 863 meters per second here. And yeah, we've got so much delta V in this. This is actually intended to go to Duna, for the record. We'll see if it actually makes it there. It'll have a little less mass for that variation as well, so that looks good. So we're 40 seconds away. Now 30, 20, 10, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay. So this will be a relatively brief burn. Our thrust to weight here should be quite high. Yeah, 3.19. This is a very, very light payload, so this is not very surprising. The payload might actually be a little heavier out to Duna, though, now that I think about it, because that's going to be a big, big transmitter. We'll see. We could also change this over to be Xenon, which would be expensive, but funny. Okay, so this is going to be 5 meters per second. 0.3 meters per second. We almost certainly have the maneuver at this point. Like, we have the encounter. We overshot by 0.3. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what's in Minmus here. This is fine. So at the periapsis here, we're going to do a retrograde burn, and we just want to enter an orbit. So that's going to end up being somewhere around here. This isn't a perfect orbit, but it's fine. It'll be good enough. So that's going to be in 6 days. We, of course, don't need to worry because we are unmanned here. We don't need to worry about anything other than electric charge, which is absolutely fine. Let's warp on over. No life support issues. Okay, so we successfully transmitted some science back. Excellent. And we're just going to position this in here. Now, our inclination is not going to be absolutely perfect. That's understood. Cool. So we're about 1 minute away from this burn at this point. 30 seconds, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Mark. Orbital insertion is just about complete. 5.5 meters per second. Yeah, we're not quite in orbit yet. We're just very minimally entering orbit here. There, that'll do. We don't really care too much about the final orbit here. We'll adjust this later. So that looks good for now. Let's head back to the Space Center and let's create the docking variant of this. So it's going to be the same vehicle. I'm just going to slap on some RCS up at the top. That'll be absolutely fine. The RCS will make it easier to do docking maneuvers. Significantly easier, I might add. So we'll hop into the VAB. Not that it's impossible to do docking without RCS, but it's definitely annoying. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's zoom in here. We're going to drop this guy out over here. We're going to then put in a very, very small monoprop tank. Let's see. This is too big. This is way too big. This is incredibly too big. This guy is still pretty big. I don't like that amount of monoprop, but I guess we'll go with it. That's fine for now. And then I'm going to toss in some RCS thrusters here. I don't really care what thruster block we use. We just want to have something like this. And that should give us what we need to get this docked up nice and easily. So we'll go ahead and launch this one. We just need to dock them together for our contract, and then we're going to separate them again and put them into their final orbits, is the idea. And then hopefully one of them is going to end up in a polar orbit, and then one is going to end up in an equatorial orbit, and hopefully at most times they will have line of sight to our nodes, right? So throttle up, SAS on. We can actually just use Smart ASS and go into kill rot. This seems absolutely fine. Let's go. It's going to be basically the same exact thing, but we need to bring this in and dock it this time. So we're going to have to probably drop into a bit lower of an orbit and then raise our orbit in order to get a rendezvous, because timing is almost certainly not going to work here. So that's we're probably going to have to do some phasing orbits. That's okay. So if we come on in over this direction, we can see how we're doing on our apoapsis height. I want to hop over to orbital mode here. There we go. And this time I'm going to do something a little extreme. Once we hit 10K, I'm just going to lock us to orbital prograde and see what happens. This should be fine. Yeah, we're still a little high on the apoapsis, to be honest. The real question is, what happens if we're still turning like this and we ditch this? This is going to be interesting. It's actually fine. Okay, good to know. So our apoapsis height is looking pretty good. We're going to go to horizontal velocity up once we're at an apoapsis height of about 60 here. It's going to be soon. There we go. Let's flip that right on over. That was a very quick shift there. It wants to nose down, but we're able to prevent it, so that looks good. I don't think we need to be very concerned about this liftoff then. So we're going to continue to burn here for a while until our apoapsis height is like 150 again. That's a decent height. It doesn't really matter as long as we're in orbit. And I'm going to ditch this fairing at 50 kilometers. So that's 45. And this is our actual altitude, our sea level altitude. So 48, 49, and fairing detachment. Excellent. Surprisingly, that engine fully burnt out before we reached 150 this time. I guess we have a little more mass, so that's not shocking, now that I think about it. So this is absolutely fine. We have a little bit of drag here, but I'm really not too concerned about it. We're just going to get ourselves roughly circularized. Does not have to be anywhere near perfect. This is good enough, and let's lock to the node. We have very little air resistance at this point. You can see we still have some drag, though. No doubt about that. And we can extend this solar panel as soon as we are in vacuum here, which is right about now. Excellent. Okay, we're in position for this burn. Let's warp. About 1 minute till the burn. 50 seconds. 40, 30, 20, 10, and... burning now, actually. I came out of that warp a little late, but we were pretty much right on the money as far as when we started the burn. So it all looks good there. Okay, it's good enough as far as the orbit goes. I'm not concerned about it. So now we want to head out to Minmus again. So we're going to set Minmus as our target, and we are going to head over to the descending node over here, add a maneuver, and this is going to be about like this. 2, 1, and this is good enough. So we'll just lock to that node. There we go. Rotate over to it. We don't need to burn monoprop for these turns. It's absolutely fine that we're not using RCS right now. The RCS is literally just intended to be used for the docking, and to be honest, 4 thrusters is probably wildly overkill. But that's okay. We're going to be dropping this out of future designs. This is only for this contract. So we've got 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, let's get our inclination changed and head on over to Minmus, because then we've got to do a rendezvous. This is probably good enough. Most likely. My guess is this is good enough. Should be. Yeah, that's good enough. So at this point, Minmus is out over here. We'd want to burn probably sometime around here or so. I mean, that's an encounter, but it's not a good encounter. We want to bring this back a little bit. Timing is a little off, so let's just move this out over here a bit. Need a little bit more prograde, and that should do. So this gets us an encounter. I don't know if it's a... this is a semi-reasonable encounter. It's a little low, but we're going to want phasing orbits anyway, so I'm okay with this. I am A-okay with that. Let's head over to this node. And let's warp to this burn. Excellent. So we've got an extra minute to warp here. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Off we go. Oh, I didn't extend this antenna. There we go. Let's get that antenna extended. I don't think we'd have an issue with it at these distances, but we should remember to do that. So we've got 10 seconds left on this burn, and this will bring us into a Minmus encounter. It doesn't really matter what Minmus encounter, to be honest. You can definitely see the effect that this extra mass has. Oh, we overshot this by 10 meters per second. Let's move this around and just fix that quick. Okay. Just bringing it back ever so slightly. 0.6, and this is good enough. We don't really care too much about our encounter being super precise. So we can add a maneuver here and just bring this on back. We don't even need to necessarily circularize it. We just want to have it be... We can have it be like this and see. If we set this as target, timing is exactly as bad as it could be. Okay, so we do want to bring this back then. Let's just circularize it, and we'll call it good. We've got plenty of delta V for this. So this is absolutely fine. This is going to burn out all of this delta V, but that's okay. We don't mind. So that sounds good for now. Overshot this a little bit, really. Head to the node, please. I think Smart ASS was actually not on this node. We just happened to go over it. Okay, let's warp on over. Excellent. And Minmus, here we come. This is going to be about a 10-second burn. We'll have to burn a tiny bit of this fuel reserve. Yeah, unable to transmit this. This is not necessarily shocking. It has no connection to home. It will have that connection soon enough. Okay. So 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and let's enter orbit of Minmus. We'll have to do stage twice here. And is this engine active? It is not. Okay, we massively overshot this. This thrust to weight is high. Oh, that's really, really high. Okay, noted. Let's just gently burn here. We may want to thrust limit these engines. Because, yikes, that was a lot. We're also only getting 713 meters per second out of this. That's definitely less than I expected to be getting out of this stage. But I think that's because of the monoprop here. If we were to switch over to this guy, we're at 713 meters per second. This guy has a lot more delta V. So what I'm thinking is we should probably use this to do the rendezvous. And then get these set up separately, so that we're not burning this extra delta V here. So that's absolutely fine. I want to set the actual comsat as the target, not the debris. It's in here somewhere. There we go. That's the debris. Hang on. Unset target. Got it. There we go. So that's the target there. We can see we're actually retrograde to it. That's reasonably fine. I don't mind that. So we're going to add a maneuver somewhere around here, and we can see what that rendezvous would look like. All we need to do is change our timing on this. There we go. That looks pretty good. And that is going to be a separation of 9.9 kilometers. We can dial that in a little bit. 7 kilometers. Okay, so this might be inclination. It might be a little bit of radial. Okay, this is about 7 kilometers, so maybe a little bit of radial, just a smidge. Nope, this is about as good as we're going to get for now. That's okay. This would be a timing issue then. So 9.1 meters per second, huh? This is a 0.2 second burn. I'm going to thrust limit this guy down to 10%. I'm actually going to thrust limit it down to 1%. Give us a little bit of extra burn time there. Let's warp on forward and get ourselves into position for this burn. Okay, so we've got about 1 minute now. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. So this is now going to be a 22-second burn because we're burning at 1% thrust here. And yeah, we've got a lot more delta V here, so that looks absolutely fine for now. And we might want to have this guy be the one that goes into... Well, we can actually use the monoprop as thrust as well. Okay, this is probably good enough. What do we got going on here? That is a pretty big separation of 35.6 kilometers, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and warp into about here, and we'll see what that ends up looking like. And yes, we are retrograde. That's understood. I don't actually care. We'll match with this being retrograde. Being retrograde is fine. It's fine. So at this point, we can see this separation is 35.6 kilometers. I want to move into target mode. And if you see here, we're not very far apart in our setups here. So we definitely want to warp a little closer than this, probably to about the descending node. Let's warp in about here and let this drift a bit. Okay. We're still not very far apart on these nodes, so a little bit of node shifting out over this direction. That is increasing our separation. Hang on. What direction do we need to burn then? Out over here? We're kind of burning towards target right now. That's understood. We're losing efficiency at this point. Let's just go towards target for now. And we can do a braking burn once we get in a little closer. That is increasing our separation. Awkward. Okay, so out over this direction then. We lose efficiency there, though. So that's noted. I think we just need to warp in a little closer. So let's bring this around to here. And now we see some separation. That looks much better. Okay, let's move this around over here, and can we stop? This reaction wheel's kind of struggling a little bit with that extra weight. That's okay. Let's head on over this way for now. And we can see separation is still increasing here. This is probably because we're retrograde, isn't it? This isn't behaving the way I'm used to, but I'm not used to doing a retrograde rendezvous. Yeah, this is it. This is because we're retrograde. Okay. That's fine for now. So what I want to do is I want to go to relative velocity minus at this point. I feel like, not plus. Relative velocity minus. I want to just kill our relative speed, and then we'll just do a get closer burn. That'll be fine. So we're gonna be doing this a little awkwardly, but that's okay. I want to get us into a decent rendezvous here. So let's just kill that relative speed, and I'm going to unthrust limit us. There we go. So our relative speed is continuing to drop here. Looks good. Okay, 2 meters per second. That's good enough. Now I want to burn towards the target. So you can see our relative speed is identical, but we're in awkward orbits. Our ascending and descending node are flipped around. Our orbit is completely flipped at this point. We are now going retrograde along with this communication satellite. But I want to burn towards this ComSat now. And we can see that our intercept position is improving here. Okay, so that periapsis is getting very, very low. This is 5.8 kilometers. I think we're going to just warp around to here at this point. Hang on. Hang on. We're going this direction. I was expecting we were going this direction. Nope, this is not the way we want to go. I want to continue to burn here right now. So specifically, I want to burn out over this direction at this moment. That's more like what I want to see. Excellent. 0.2 kilometers. Let's head into here. I forgot that we had flipped our orbit for a moment there. Okay, so looks like we're going to need to burn down here. 0.3. 0.4. Okay, we need to flip around to retrograde anyway. We have a pretty decent relative speed differential here, so let's flip around over this direction and start working on pushing this node up over this direction and dropping our relative speed. Yeah, this is what we need. Okay, so there we go. Relative velocity minus. And we're going to need to warp in here 45.8 meters per second. So minus 45.8. We're using this just for the burn timing. And that is absolutely fine. So 2 minutes and 10 seconds on that. I'm going to burn a little before that. I want the full burn to be done before then, actually. So I want to do this at 0%. And let's warp in a bit. Okay, so we can see we're about 4 kilometers away right now. Looking good. We'll warp in a little closer. 2 kilometers. Okay. Start burn in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Burning it now. Whoa. Hang on. Something went very, very wacky there. Relative velocity minus. Did we wildly overshoot that? I don't think so. Why did we start turning like that? Relative velocity minus, please. Maybe we overshot it. Yeah, I think we did. Look how much this is moving. Okay, so I forgot to re-thrust limit us. That's okay. So we'll just bring this on in, and that's fine. I want to burn at target plus for right now. We want to get back in a little bit. So let's move this in at about 10 meters per second. That'll be fine. So we'll move this back to relative velocity minus for now. This intercept will be in a few minutes here. Let's go ahead and physics warp as we head in. I'm going to re-thrust limit this back down to about 1% thrust. This is a lot of thrust for right now. Okay. So we're still at a relative separation of 0.0. That looks good. I want to slowly slow us down a little bit here. Down to about 10 meters per second. So that's right about there. Okay. And let's warp in a little closer. Watching our nodes drift a bit here. This doesn't feel like 0.0 kilometers, to be honest. That's still claiming 0.0, but I don't believe it. I'm going to put this in kill rot, and we are going to do a little bit of burning out over here. It's just a bit of a corrective burn. And I mean, this is definitely close enough. Let's go to relative velocity minus now. Okay. We're not turning very quickly here. Overshot it a little bit, but we want to bring this on over. We're barely moving right now. We're about 30 meters away. This is definitely close enough. Still at relative velocity minus and 0.0. That looks good. Okay, so now we're going to use the RCS to have these guys, and I want to point at target. We're going to use the RCS to get these guys docked together. So I want to control from here, set as target over here, please. There we go. And go to target velocity up. We'll just get these guys aligned. There we go. RCS is on at this point, and we want to, not that direction. We want to head in. That's 0.8. This is very, very high thrust. Understood. 4 was ambitious. Okay, so we just have to be pretty cautious here. No doubt about that. And let's warp in a little bit. Okay, about 10 meters to go. We have to be... Ooh, that's very sensitive. Okay, this should be fine. I want to roll us a little bit out over this way. There we go. Adjusting our trajectories ever so slightly. And there we go. We are docked. Perfect. So this is now docked together. That's a lot of screen messages. Okay. But there we go. We have now completed that contract. Now we want to put these into their final position. They're not in their final position now, but it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to get these moved a little bit further. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.